guys, I have been receiving a lot of questions about which town to travel to when you're in the coastal region. So many of you from Kenya and outside Kenya have been wondering which should be their coastal town of choice for holidays. So guess what? In this video, I'll be making a comparison of all those towns so that you can make a well-informed decision. What are you traveling for? You can either be traveling for business or for luxury or for food. There are so many reasons why people would like to travel to the coastal town. If you are traveling for business, there are so many hotels that have conference facilities. There are plenty in Watamu, in Diani and in Mombasa, but many people prefer Mombasa because other than having conference facilities in hotels like Bliss and Pride Inn, there are many other basic facilities that you need. For instance, there are so many banks around. You can make a transaction here and there. The airport and the SGR is the train station, is within Mombasa, so you can easily access means of transport. There are so many tuk-tuks and motorbikes which are quite fair charged. Now by tuk-tuk I mean the three-legged vehicle. Yes, they can take you from one point to another at a very fair price. Many of those facilities are just within one area, so it is very cost friendly. If you are selling anything, there are so many people around Mombasa, so many people from different cultures, so at least you can get market for people here because of the number of people and the different cultures here. For those of you who have saved up for a luxury holiday, I would recommend two places. That is Diani and Watamu. In Diani, there are very nice hotels. There is Swahili Beach Hotel. There is nice apartments like Galulantana. There is Sands at Nomad. I have made videos of those places, just check them out. In Watamu, there is Medina Palm. It is a luxury hotel, very white, very beautiful. Just check out the video on that. There is also Kobe Sweet Resort. I mean, there are plenty. Hemingway's, Watamu. I have made videos of all those places. Just check out my travel videos and you'll know what I mean by luxury. You just chill in your room, you get served room service, all that. Of course, it will pinch your pocket, but if you travel for luxury, that won't be an issue. For a budget traveler, there are so many options. There are so many hostels all over the coastal towns. There's one in Diani, there's another one there is Diani Backpackers, there is Tulia Backpackers in Mombasa, and there is one in Mtwapa as well. But the most favorite of mine is called Distant Relative in Kilifi. There you can have accommodation for $20 or less, up to even $8, depending on whether you'll be staying in the dome, whether you'll be staying in the tent, or you'll have a private room. And their private rooms are actually decent. So if you want cheap accommodation, and then now the whole trick of budget traveling is you eat street foods. You are just sorted in Kilifi, Distant Relative, in Diani. Even though in Diani, I would say moving from one place to another will require tuk-tuk, which will cost you some cash. So I would recommend Kilifi for backpacking and Mombasa because there is Tulia Backpackers just next in the old town actually. And I'm told there's another, I'm not sure, but I'm told there's another one in Nyali. And there, at least all of those amenities you need, the restaurants, banks, historical sites are just within one place. So even the street foods are very much available in Mombasa, I would say that. So Mombasa qualifies for budget travel. Mombasa and Kilifi, I would say. And there you can, other than historical site, you can get things like in Kilifi, actually you can watch the bioluminescence if you want. If you love bioluminescence, there is surfing, kite surfing, all that. Just imagine $20 or less for accommodation. If you travel for adventure, guess what? Kenyan coast has all the kinds of adventure you like. Hiking, like in Shimba Hills. There is kayaking in almost all towns. There is skydiving. Actually, there used to be skydiving, but the last time I checked, it was shut down. But I was told, but somehow, it's still operational. So if you are sure, please just comment below. And there is also kite surfing. You can train to be a good kite surfer, or you can do it as a sport if you wish. There is deep sea diving, there is snorkeling. I mean, there is basically everything. But the town that has all these activities is Diani. When you go to Diani and the Kwale region, there is hiking in Shimba Hills, there is kayaking in the estuary, it's called Kongo River Estuary, jet skiing in Diani, swimming with the dolphins, and snorkeling in the Ruasini and Kisite Mpunguti Island. There is a marine park there. You get the most beautiful sea life you can ever see. Imagine you can do all the activities that you never thought you would do in your life or you've done elsewhere, but you just get the best experience ever. That one is in Diani. So many people travel to experience the coastal culture, and that is the Swahili culture. In Swahili is a culture that is derived from the mingling of Bantus and the Arab people in the coast. So if you are traveling to experience that pure culture, you'll get it all over the coastal towns. All of them offer that. However, because of mingling with other cultures, some of them are not as strong as in others. For instance, in Diani, there are so many visitors who come. In Diani and Mombasa, there are so many people from outside who've come and settled in Mombasa and Diani. So you'll realize that the culture there is not as strong as it is in isolated towns like Lamu. In Lamu, you'll just feel like you're in a Swahili nation. It is totally different. You'll realize it's a totally different culture altogether. People there move from one place to another using boats, like it used to be in the past. They also use donkeys. Those are the main modes of transportation. So you understand what I mean by totally different. Also, there people are very hospitable. Like if you know Swahili people, you'll realize that they are very friendly people, they are very hospitable people, they are very kind. In fact, someone can just close their shops to take you somewhere. That is how much kind those people are. And you can also feel the richness of their language. You'll hear like not the Swahili you read in books, but there is different dialects there, totally different from what you usually hear. You learn one or two things. Let me just say, you'll really experience the Swahili culture mostly in Lamu and probably Watamu. There are also some very special times when you get to experience the Swahili culture along the coast. That is during the month of Ramadan. You'll see there are so many people offering. That is the month when people are usually very generous. They offer a lot of food to neighbors, to even passerbys, to beggars, all over. You'll get to try their food. When you travel along their markets, you'll get so much spices, so much food being sold, Swahili food. There is Lamu Festival and there is Mombasa Festival. There you can also experience nice food from Mombasa and generally Swahili people. Many people come to the coast for the sites that they have, and the first, it can either be geographical site or it can be a historical site. Let me start with the geographical sites. The Kenyan beaches are the best. Actually, Diani has been rated to be the one to have one of the best beaches in Africa, so we cannot take that for granted, and it brings so many visitors from outside to come and experience it, including even Kenyans. So the coast, the beaches, all beaches are nice, but the Diani beaches have been rated to be the best. So that one I would recommend. There is an estuary. We actually have an estuary. It's called Kongo River Estuary. An estuary is where the river pours its water into the ocean. You can go do kayaking there. There is very beautiful sunset there. So if you want to see that, there is that one. If you'd like activities and a lot of street foods, try the Mombasa beaches. Other than Diani, one of the cleanest beaches is also in Kilifi. Kilifi also has very beautiful beach. We also have the sand dunes. There is a sand dune, it's called Mambrui sand dune in Malindi, and there is another one in Lamu. So if you'd like to just experience the whole sand dune thing, maybe climbing one or two, or taking nice photos, those two places you need to go to. I've made videos about that. Just check it out. Marine Park is one of those things that brings people to the coast. Kenya has some of the best marine parks ever. Basically, every town has a marine park. Watamu, Malindi, Diani, all those, they have best marine park. But the one I have been to, and the one I can attest to, is the one at Kisite Mpunguti. So when you go there, you do snorkeling or deep sea diving, you will totally love it. So guys, I'm in Old Town. This is called Forodhani restaurant. It's one of those popular places. When you come to Mombasa, you must come and try their food. And from here I can see English Point over there. Yes, there is English Point, and right next to this place over there, it's the old port. Now that is a fisherman. He's just from fishing. You can see. Being at the Old Town, I think I should also talk about the historical sites. It's called East African slave trade. Yes, it used to happen along the Kenyan coast a lot. So there is so much history that follows that. For instance, there are plenty of forts. There is Fort Jesus and there is Lamu Port. Fort Jesus was used as it was used for so many reasons. First of all, it was used like a barracks. At some point, it was used as a prison and all that, and it was made by the Portuguese. Now on the other side in Lamu, the fort in Lamu was made by the Oman people. So there is so much history following that. There are so many ruins here and there, but the town that has most of those historical sites is by far Mombasa and Lamu, because of the forts, and they also have Old Town that is rich in Kenyan history. What I would recommend if you're following history, try Mombasa and Lamu. Now that I've mentioned all those sites, if you see a site or a kind of the classification of site that you'd be interested in, just select one of those towns. Like I said, all these towns stand out for so many reasons, so you can just choose specific reasons why you go to a specific town. Cost of living is very relative. For instance, like I said, there is budget accommodation in Mombasa and in Kilifi. However, you'll realize that maybe the food could be more expensive and accommodation is cheaper. So there is also that. You need to consider that. Now let's talk about accessibility of these towns. The most accessible one by far is Mombasa, because you can come to Mombasa using SGR. There is called Moi International Airport in Mombasa. There is buses that come all the way, and it's very safe. While you're in Mombasa, you can use tuk-tuks, you can use matatus, you can use Uber, all those kinds. You can even walk, because from one place to another, all those facilities are around the same place. So accessibility in Mombasa is the best. It is also followed by Malindi. There is an airport in Malindi. It's called Malindi Airport. You can use tuk-tuks to access there. There is a lot of taxis and all that. You can move from one place to another by just walking. And then there is also Lamu also. Actually, Lamu is the farthest. It is not so easy to access Lamu, because you have to either use an airplane, and you land at Manda Airport, and then from Manda Airport you also have to take the boat again to get to now Lamu Island. So if you cannot afford that, it's quite expensive. But many people nowadays go to Lamu via the road. It used not to be safe, but nowadays there's plenty of security and escort, so you can still access Lamu, but it's at the farthest side of Kenya. And maneuvering from one place to another, you either have to use a donkey, you can use a motorbike. Even though it was banned the other day in Old Town, you can walk. Actually, when I was in Lamu, I used to walk a lot. You can also use the boats. They're called boat taxis, and they're quite fair. 100 shillings you get from one place to another, at times even 50 shillings. Kilifi and Malindi, Watamu, mostly it's just use of tuk-tuk here and there. But Kilifi, from Mombasa you go to Kilifi. Now if you're going to Kilifi, you'll have to come either use the SGR, get to Mombasa. Once you get to Mombasa, you get another vehicle to go to Kilifi, and then from Kilifi you go to Watamu. So if you're going, the farther you go from Mombasa town, the more the transport. So that one is one thing you should consider. Kilifi is farther, meaning that you'll pay more for transportation to get there, but once you get there, there is cheaper accommodation. So those are some of those things you need to consider. There's cheaper accommodation, you can also eat street foods and all that. So guys, from all the facts I've given you can agree with me that there is no one town that is complete. So depending on what you're looking for in a town or along the coastal line, you will choose one of the towns. Or if you have the time and you can afford it, you can go to all those towns. I mean, they're all amazing. I cannot choose. That is why every time I go to different towns. I hope that was helpful if you are looking for a particular place to go. And please like the video and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support, and bye until the next video.